Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of BS Drunk Movie Reviews. This is a weekly podcast, and we do upload the video version of this to our YouTube channel, so you can check us out there. My name is Matt, and as always, I'm being joined by my sister and co-host, Vetta.
Hi guys.
All right, on. And on this episode, we have a special guest coming back at us is Vex Electronica. Vex, how you doing?
I'm doing really well. I'm a little cold and a little sleepy, but otherwise very well to dive into a stir of shit.
Right on. All right. And speaking of that, our theme this month is premonition and something else I can't remember off the top of my head. But so we are going to be talking about Stir of Echoes. But before we get started, you guys, I'm going to ask the most important question. And Vetta, that is, what are you drinking tonight?
I am drinking a drink called, or translated into a hypnotic breeze is what it's called. Um, it has a French liqueur in it called HQ, or it's spelled like HPNO something something Q, and I guess that translates into hypnotic.
This isn't Aquila the Bee, so you don't have to spell out the alcohol.
I wasn't right anyways. So yeah, it's pretty tasty. It's got that liqueur in it, rum, lime juice, pineapple juice. It was supposed to have garnishes, but you know what I feel about garnishes.
I hate
I don't need a
garnishes.
snack. I'm
Yeah.
good.
All right, Vex, what are you drinking?
I am drinking something called ice sweat. What it
Nice.
is I have a some ionized water, some ice cubes, and a slice of lemon.
Nice, nice. I like it. He does get sweaty when he gets hypnotized in this movie. So,
He's sweaty
all right.
this whole movie.
Yeah, well, I want to talk about him
Yeah,
for
but
but
what are
okay.
you drinking?
I am drinking wine, and I just want to say real quick because this was a process. I'm drinking wine because I tried to find a Stir of Echoes cocktail, and when you type in Stir of Echoes cocktail into Google, you get this Stir of Echoes cocktail game. And I was like, is there a cocktail in the game that you can make and everything that I could? I couldn't find. Then no, it's just a game. It's a board game, and I'm like, I don't want that bullshit. So then I was like, all right. So I was trying to think of stuff. Typed in Kevin Bacon cocktail, got his bar. He's apparently got a bar, and I'm like, good for you, but I need a drink. There's a drink. I think it was called the Kevin Bacon, but you have to put a slice of bacon in it, like a piece of bacon. And I was like, I don't want food in my cocktail. I just want to get drunk. Like
Not
that's
even
the
a special cocktail, because if you take the piece of bacon out of it, it's just I can't remember what it is, but it's like a something with like bourbon in it. And I'm like,
yeah.
I think that's a real cocktail. So you just added bacon to
Yeah.
it and said
And
it's a Kevin Bacon.
yeah, it's like I don't need food. I don't like stuff floating in my beverages. It weirds me out. I just don't like that boba tea and everything. Anyways, all right, let's real quick. I'm just gonna ask you overall, did you enjoy the movie? Vex, what about you? What'd you think about
I
the movie
re
overall?
Yeah, like I really liked this movie when I was a kid. So when you said that we were going to review Stir of Echoes, I was like, yay, I really enjoyed that movie. Then I rewatched it. I was like, why did I like this movie?
Right
Um,
on.
Because it had
eh,
Kevin Bacon in it.
I maybe that was it, but this I mean in terms of being like one of those like paranormal premonition kind of ghost story movies, I guess it's all right, like especially for a mainstream audience because I do recall this got a theatrical release.
Hmm.
Um but other than that, yeah, I was not in I was you know what? I was more impressed by how much I could probably meme this movie if I wanted to. There we
Right
go.
on. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the kid was adorable. The
The kid
kid
was
was
so
darn tootin'.
adorable. Oh,
Yes.
so cute. All right, Beto, overall, what did you think of this movie? Just real quickly.
It took me 2 times to watch it. I fell asleep the first time.
Gotcha.
And then I had to go back and I was like, where did I end? And I was like, oh, I remember this. Okay, I'll just start here. Sure. And then I started watching it and I was like, how did I fall asleep? This is getting crazy. It was probably just boring when I fell asleep because then it piqued my interest and I was like, wait, didn't think it was good. But there were parts where I was like, I got questions. Where's the
Right
Q&A?
on.
I got questions.
I
What
totally
about you?
I'm in the same boat as you guys. I liked it when I was younger, and then while I was watching, I was like, I'm not liking it as much as I used to. I feel like the memory of it was better than what's going on right now. I just kept thinking the whole time, like I just kept thinking like, yo, you don't dig in wood, right? You don't dig into wood, like wooden floors. That's not how that works, buddy. So I'm like, you didn't follow instructions correctly.
Okay, talking about the digging though, because yeah, she asked him to dig. I'm like, you're a fucking terrible ghost, first of all, because you told him to dig and there was nothing to dig for. And then he goes to dig up, like break up the concrete in the basement, and he didn't have to dig. He had to take down a wall. So maybe she
Right.
should have just put wall instead on that fucking
Yeah,
screen.
that's a good point. That's an
And
excellent point.
she communicates with the boy and the dad. And they're not comparing too many notes here.
Yeah.
They're just both like, I talked to her.
Yeah, and I want to. Okay, so now that we've gotten into this real quick, I want to talk about the black police officer with his shaman getup in that alleyway or whatever. So he says, "Hey, send your husband over here, and we'll chit chat." And then he gets there, and it's obviously like, like an AA meeting for ghost seers and stuff. But he like literally those people. First off, when he opens the door, all those people get pissed real fucking quick. Like they were like, shut the fucking door, man. I was like, you guys are angry over nothing. I was like, this bitch, what if she's a ghost seer too? But she's all like, I don't know if I want to come in there with those psychos. But they get real fucking quick. They're mad, except for the old guy that has the mouth breather on. I was all like, I think you're close to being one of these ghosts, my
The
dude.
the best part of that black policeman, and this was probably one of the highlights of the movie, is when they go into the cemetery and the kid like is encroaching on what looks to be like an officer's funeral. Afterwards, like the dude like approaches them and he's just like, get your daddy to come over later. I'm like,
Oh my god, I thought the same thing.
why did you have to say it like that? And he said it like, get your daddy to come over. Like, oh,
Right.
there's a child there, sir.
And I thought his explanation of the ghost scene was not very good because I was all like, if I was her, I'd be like, I have a lot more questions, my dude. Okay. I mean, it's just crazy. Okay. So this is what I wanted to ask. Okay. So he's supposed to dig like this girl's like gives him one word, dig. Okay. If the son can talk to Samantha or whatever the hell her name was, why didn't she just say, hey, tell your dad to go down to the basement and knock down that wall because I'm behind the wall, kid. Like instead she's all like, she's talking about feathers and shit. And she's all like, and like he's having full-blown conversations with her.
Yeah.
Like, does it hurt to be dead? And I'm all like, why don't you just be like, hey, where are you in this house? Just tell me. And so I can tell my dad and we can be done with you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The communication between the dad and the son.
Turns out ghosts suck at talking. They're just good at being angry, like because at people that did not kill them, by the way. Like she's all pissed off at Kevin Bacon. I'm like, Kevin Bacon's trying here. He's listening to every CD that he has, and you're just not giving him enough credit. Meanwhile, you're traumatizing this child with zombie movies instead of being like a cool chick. But you didn't look like you were fun alive anyway, so it's fine. It's fine. Okay, so I wanted to ask you guys real quick, and then we'll get back to the movie because do you guys believe in ghosts? Go. Vex, do you believe in ghosts? You do.
Yes.
Vetta, do you believe in ghosts? Be honest.
I believe in beings. I don't know if they're ghosts.
I'm sorry, beings. Please explain. I'm so excited for this answer because I was not expecting it. What do you mean by beings?
I think there's something else out there. I don't know if it's an alien. I don't know if it's left behind pieces of a person, if it's the actual spirit, because
sorry, are you equating aliens to ghosts? There's a difference. I'm so confused.
How do you know?
I know, trust me, I know. But okay, but, so left behind what? Left behind what?
Like I don't know, like impressions of the person. Because what is it that they say religiously? You're like trapped if you commit suicide. Like you can't go on if I'm remembering my
in purgatory.
Maybe being a ghost is purgatory.
I don't think so.
You don't know.
Okay, so
I was gonna say, you said leave an imprint behind. I'm like, that's what a ghost is, though.
I do not.
By the way, it could be the actual person's spirit.
That's a ghost.
I just want to say real quick, I do not believe in ghosts, but I have this is such a woman thing though. I feel like the ghost thing because I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in any of that shit. Like that stuff is like nonsense. You're telling me you're like what you lost your special fork one day and you're just like, "Oh, I'm going to stick around because I need to tell somebody where that fork is and everything." I'm like, "Get the hell out of here with that nonsense." I'm like,
I have had in our old house. I swear to pieces that I had a person watching me, like a dark form.
I've
So,
heard the stories. I just don't believe. I'm sorry, but you are, a little mentally unstable.
well,
I
that's true.
mean, but I'm sorry. Like, I've never seen a ghost. I've never seen anything that makes me question that shit.
Well,
So
you
I
have a
just,
twin. You're different to begin with.
well, what the fuck is that supposed to mean? What do you mean? Because I have a soul sharer.
That's what I mean. You're kind of split in two,
Splinty,
literally.
so I can't see the I can't see
Yeah,
the other world.
right.
All right. So Vex, you believe in ghosts?
I do.
Have you seen a ghost?
I think I've seen a ghost. I
Gotcha.
can't confirm if it was a
It
ghost.
wasn't
It
a
wasn't
ghost.
an orb. It was like
I
a
can
real big
an
thing, right?
orb. Oh my god, I want to get into that now. Orbs, shut up. Get out of here. An orb. I've heard
Watching
that.
those ghost hunter
Oh
shows,
my
and they take the
god.
picture, and there's the orb, and I'm like, dude, that's just dust. You
It's
focus
I
in
dust,
need
on
right?
I need to have another drink. You are driving. I love that you buzzword orb like in
Well, okay.
the
So like
paranormal
I
world.
I go on like a lot of those like ghost tours whenever I go to like a historical city or whatever.
Hmm.
So like I go there with the intention, but like there's one tour that my husband and I went on in St. Augustine. And I remember just being like, "Oh, okay, it's cool because there was a lot that went down here." But then they showed us some of the pictures that people had taken like of a specific spot and I was like, "Oh,
Look at that.
oh, yeah. So it's like I'm kind of I like the Ghost Hunter TV show stuff and like orbs, for example, like I can see that being a lot of hooey, but
yeah.
like I don't put it past the fact that there's so much going on in the world and in the universe that maybe there is something a little bit weird remaining or going on.
See, I have to say, like, for me personally to believe in ghosts, I need a bitch to show up and be like, "Hey, my name is Mary. I live this later. I died this way. Come talk to me." And then I will believe in ghosts. But until then, just because some like random like spirit, I put that in quotations for those listening to the podcast, um, I need like full on like contact. But unlike this bitch who is not very good at that. Okay, I wanted to ask you guys one more question before we get back into this movie. Do you guys believe in hypnotism and have you ever been hypnotized? Go. Vex, you first. Here's your guest.
Um, I think it could work, but I've never been hypnotized.
Mm-hmm.
I like
That
I have a feeling there's like probably a good like the formula maybe changes person to person, but I have a feel like you could probably hypnotize someone if you wanted to, but I myself have not ever been hypnotized. No.
all right, Betta, have you ever been hypnotized?
I have not been to been hypnotized, but I have been to shows where people get hypnotized, which is always fun. I do think the reason I could never be hypnotized is I am not naturally a trusting person. I am always like, what are they going to do to me? Like in my mind, if I get hypnotized, I'm going to be stripped naked and barking like a
I
dog on the
and
Or
stage
get
or
oh,
something.
needles stuck through your hand.
or
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
I'm the same way, except like it's gonna get sexual, and I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in that. But at
So, and
this,
I seen a comic hypnotist that kind of did a comedy thing. Um, and the questions he was asking the lady were getting a lot of laughs, but in my brain, I went, "Oh my God, that's rude." And then I was like, "Oh man, what if she says something her husband doesn't like? Or what if it's not something done with her husband?" Because he asked her where was the last place she had sex, things like that. And I'm like, "Oh, what if she's cheating on her husband and he wasn't there? That's not good." But yeah, I just I think you have to be of a certain type of person, like mentally. You have to be like one of those overwhelmingly trusting everyone's out to do good in the world and they won't harm you. I don't think someone who's untrusting or thinks that everyone's gonna, molest me or murder me, nothing in between. So I don't think I can be hypnotized.
right on. Okay, so Now I wanted to I've never been hypnotized, by the way. Although I kind of do want to be hypnotized just to lose a little weight, be like, you're gonna lose 20 pounds and everything. But I'm afraid that it'll go in a weird direction, like this movie. Okay.
Like all of a
Now,
sudden you're anorexic, like you're from the
yeah, like
movie
I'm
The
like very
Machine.
gaunt and everything. Okay, so here's okay. Did either one of you guess like how the murder went down of Samantha? Was her name Samantha? Of
Yes, it was
Samantha?
Samantha, yeah.
Yeah.
Samantha.
Did either one of you guess the murder? Because before, like I had seen this before, so I knew. But the first time you ever watched it, did you guess the murder?
I
Can't
guessed
remember.
that it was, I didn't know exactly like that the dads covered it up and that it was the boys, but I knew the minute the one boy committed suicide in his, vision, and then in the same vision, the dad was like, they were going to kill you. I knew, there was a cover up of some sort and it involved the boy. And so in my mind, I thought they raped her and then the dads, because she was going to tell, murdered her. I didn't think the boys just murdered her.
Right on. Okay. All
Can
right.
I just say that rape scene, like those are some terrible rapists, I'd just like to
For
point
sure.
out.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. He's like, you're so hot. And I'm like, yeah, in her parka. I'm like, she's so hot in her parka.
well,
Yeah.
like they start getting on her, but like before he can even like get his dick at her, he's got a plastic sheet over her face. It's
Yeah,
like,
which I love that.
what?
He's like, see, find something to cover her face. I'm like, why don't you try your hand? I know she bit it, dude, but like, I'm like, yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I love how I'm like trying to like help him out with the grape scene, but I'm all like, the whole time I'm just like, my dude, this is like, you're really bad at this. Maybe you should just stop. And by the way, like, is that really how you want to get some play? Like, come on. It's having a girl cry and scream during it is no fun. So I'm
I
like,
mean,
yeah,
unconsensually
exactly.
crying,
Well,
screaming. Yes.
and the way this girl's talked about throughout the movie, I don't think they would have actually had to have tried super hard from the way everyone talks about her. They
Yeah,
probably would have just had to actually like be nice to her.
right. I love how when he's like, have a drink, he's like, no, man, I already got the dizzies. I'm all like, I've never heard him called the dizzies before. I want to say, like, as far as the murder goes, when I first watched it, listen, I have to be honest with you. When I first watched this, I remember watching it the first time, like many, many years ago. I thought the ending was so brilliant. I was like, oh my God, this is so good. They turned this shit around. I was like, oh my God, my mind is blown. Watching it again, I was like, I would have never guessed this. I'm like, I'm so confused right now. How did the dads get involved? These guys have been in like what two? The one guy with the mustache has been in like two scenes. I'm
Mhm.
like, I was like, I would not have called this. And like, brilliant, my fucking ass. I'm all like even the part where, even when I first watched it, with the part where the kid goes, he's like, I don't want to go home. He said, why? Because of the feathers. I'm like, and then when I saw it the first time, I was like, the feathers. Oh my God, that is mind blowing. That's groundbreaking. And now I'm just like, he wouldn't have been sleeping there in the first place. I'm like, this makes no sense. I'm like, fuck you, M. Night Shyamalan wannabe. So,
Mhm.
okay. I want to talk about Kevin Bacon because I love Kevin Bacon in this
Oh,
movie. That motherfucker is drinking so much orange juice. That's what I should have drank. I should have drank orange juice for this episode.
A screwdriver.
A
That's what you
screwdriver.
should have
I
had.
should have done that. I should have done that. I have orange juice and vodka. I should have done that instead. That would have been easier. But instead, I'm wasting my time looking for shit. Okay, so first off, I loved how at the beginning. Well, can I talk? Okay, I want to talk about real quick. We mentioned that he is sweaty. He is sweating like 80% of this movie because he is doing so much work. And I'm all like, you were doing a lot of work for a woman that's like so unavailable right now. And I'm all like, I don't get that, my dude. Um, and okay, one thing, okay, remember when they're in the backyard and he's digging, right? And then he goes, and then he's like, I'm not going to stop. This is the most important thing that's happened in my entire life. And I'm
mhm.
not going to stop. And you can't make me stop. Now, first off, I just want to say, how sad is that a ghost talking to you is the most important thing in your life? Which I thought he had a great life. He has a wife, a kid. He's got a good, look like a good job to me. I was like, I think your life looks great, in my opinion. and your wife is pregnant. I'm like, when his reaction, by the way, was so when her sister, which I want to talk about her, 'cause she was my favorite character in this entire fucking movie. But when she's all like, the proper thing is congratulations. I'm all like, no, it's like, you should be like crying, grabbing your belly, being like, oh my God, I love you. I'm so happy right now. Anyways, but he had a bad reaction. Instead, he was like, oh no, I can't be in my band. And I'm all like, but I was all like, you have a great life. What are you talking about? This is the most important thing to you. Get the fuck out of here. You're crazy.
Well, like the way I saw it, because like so when the movie starts, like it just kind of like lays the foundation that like, oh yeah, she got pregnant with her second kid. They have a young one, but like it was very clear that he wasn't happy with his life. Like he didn't want to be in the job he was. Even like being a dad, even though he was a good dad, it was like that wasn't part of the plan for him, kind of deal. And then him not be then her getting pregnant again and him saying like I can't be in my band now. That was kind of like the final just like nail in the coffin of, oh, like I can't pursue my dreams anymore is what I was, and that's why he was in like a little bitchy throughout that entire party that they go to afterwards.
Oh, right. It's so good.
So like I got the impression throughout the entire film that he was not happy with his life, even though like you're right, he had a lot of good things going. He had a fucking cute as hell kid. Like I don't know how
So
you can be
fucking
upset.
cute. Oh my
And he
God.
was smart too. The kid was
So smart.
smart,
Yeah. I love when he was digging and he was just like threw that big chunk of dirt at this truck. It was like, that is so adorable, kid. Vetta, what
right?
about you? What about you? What do you think about that whole situation?
Well, first of all, the logic person comes into my brain and goes, that kid should not be digging in that backyard. You did not call and have the gas company come out and check your
Oh,
backyard. You
right.
just killed your kid.
Right.
Good job,
Right.
Dad. And I also thought from looking, isn't that also the guys that live behind them's backyard too that he's just digging out? 'Cause it's a
Oh.
big
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't think
because
about
it
that.
shows the house. And can I just say, I would be him where I would kick the bucket and it would go through a window.
Oh, that was
That
so
would be
good.
me
Oh my God. That was
for
so good.
sure.
I was
I
like,
read that was improvised actually. Like it wasn't
oh
supposed to
man.
break, but he just stayed in character throughout the
Yeah,
entire scene.
but that would be what would happen to me. I would kick it and it would go through a window and it'd be some weird shaped window that would cost extra money to
That's
replace.
so good. I love that. Okay.
But I
Now
loved the kid. The kid was great.
he's the
Oh my
best. Yeah,
gosh.
he's so good.
He
He
was
hasn't done anything
adorable.
since. He hasn't done anything
Poor
since.
thing.
Yeah. Okay. So real quick, going back to that argument where he tells her this is the best thing, and like afterwards, she's like, "You have never spoken to me like this, and if you ever do it again, I'm leaving or whatever." And I was like, "Wow, that is so tame to the way I've been in hardcore arguments with my dog worse than that." I was like, so I was like, I don't know why everybody's complaining in this movie because it seems like you guys are great, and the sister does mention that they're the best couple that she knows. And I'm all like, are they though? They seem like they don't. I got that they barely liked each other. They're just like, having kids and fucking, in the middle of the night, which was hot. But I,
Right? Oh my goodness. I was and then there's a little nip that poked out there too,
yeah,
if you were
Yep,
paying
yeah,
yep.
yeah.
attention.
She had a definitely a hot body and she had some great titties. Like I was like, yeah, show those suckers, and then they didn't show them. I'm like, boo. I'm like, this isn't a horror movie. So okay, we can come back to Kevin Bacon because if you guys wouldn't mind, if you just indulge me, I want to talk about Lisa because I love Lisa. I was like, Lisa, I want to be your friend because I love how she's talking about like she's like there are possibilities of self-consciousness. I'm like, oh, get the fuck out of here, Lisa. You are that annoying person at a party. I was like, you're so annoying. And then she's all like hypnotizing him. And then later on, which I want to talk about the hypnotizing part later on, she's like, I gave you a suggestion. I was like, Lisa, wow, you stepped over the line, Lisa. That was a no-go, honey. And is that how everybody can go? But okay. So I loved when he comes over and he's all like, what did you do to me and everything? And she's all like, listen, I just smoked a big fatty. So this is all hitting me hard. And I'm all like, this is so good, Lisa. I love you so much. Like, you're great. Vetta, what did you think about Lisa?
I loved Lisa because, first of all, Lisa blew the baby surprise, which I don't
Oh,
have a sister, but I feel like that's such a sister thing to do. Like, because in the whole world, wouldn't she's 2 months along. She should have already, or 3 months, because she's got 6 months ago. he should have known already. And I do kind of feel like they did the whole got married because she got pregnant thing. They
Hmm.
give off that vibe. But yeah, the sister, and she doesn't even give a shit. That's the best part about it. She's like, doesn't even give a shit that she's just wrecked this big huge surprise, and her sister's like, wait, how do you know? I just found out. Wait, what? And she ruined it. And then when they go to her party, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go to her house for a party. It's dinner and a show, and then
Right.
when he goes to her house and her friend's there, and then her friend starts talking in another language, and you know what she's saying. I was gonna get some. I'm high as a kite. I was about to get laid, and you just fucked my shit up. I hate you. I hope you die. And then she left. That's what I think she said to it.
Right on. What about you, Vex? What did you think of Lisa?
Didn't care for Lisa whatsoever. I thought it was pretty
Oh.
funny, like that. Yeah, like the scene where she's like, "I'm too baked for this," like, or like she when she answers the phone when he calls her, he's like, "I have no caffeine in my system right now. I can't deal with this
Oh
right
yeah.
now." Like she had like some funny, quirky lines, but like just there's a lot of characters that did what her character did, like especially if we're talking about 90s, where like the edgy kind of, you know, middle-aged single woman thing was pretty popular, especially with like Sex in the City. So I was just like, yeah, I was like whatever with her character, but she didn't bring down any of the scenes she was in, which is really good. Like I thought, because I didn't remember this movie at all. So
Hmm.
rewatching it, I was kind of expecting her to just be like the hippy dippy for the whole movie, but like she was actually like pretty level headed about things. So I could take her or leave her. She wasn't like a standout for me.
Okay. Right on. No, that makes sense. Although I'm bummed that you didn't like her because I loved her.
Well, it's not that
Okay.
I hate. It's not I didn't like her. I also like she's just whatever to me.
She was
Yeah,
just my
she's
favorite.
indifferent.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So I want to talk about her when she hypnotizes Kevin Bacon. What is his name? Okay, it doesn't matter. I love calling him Kevin Bacon. Okay,
Yes.
so when she hypnotizes Kevin Bacon for the first time, and she's all like, I liked the first one where she was all like the theater, and she's like, it's all black, and I was like, and then they did the little wall change. I was like, this is fun. I like this and everything. And then she's like, you see the screen and everything, and then she's like, you get closer to the screen and everything, and she's like, you can't see the word because it's blurry. Now I want to know. I just want to ask you guys because when she's like, you can't see the word, I immediately goes, it says sleep. I can tell what it says because I forgot what it said, but I was like, it says sleep. I can see it. It says sleep and everything. And then she's like, and everything. Did either of you get that or no? No.
No, I did not notice that it
Well,
was
I
sleep.
have
But
good
I have
vision.
terrible air eyesight,
Right
so
on. Right on.
Same.
Right on.
I
Because
just that whole scene is he's in a movie theater, but when he like gets close to the screen, he's in the like chair that he's in her house, and
oh
I'm
my
like,
God. Oh my God. When they did that the second time, hold on. We'll talk about that in a minute because
yeah,
I want to talk about that. Okay. So I did like that hold on, I'm writing something down so I don't forget it. Okay. So when he does that first one, I just loved every minute. I was like, if this is how hypnosis goes, I'm down for the sickness. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, if you're in a theater and it goes all black like that, I'm like, yay, please. But
so I've read that's an actual like hypnosis technique that like
mm.
hypnotists use. So that was like that they did their research for that scene. So that is a possible way you could be hypnotized.
Well, I'm down for it
you
and
gotta find a
everything.
theater hypnotist apparently.
Right, right, yeah. But do you use that theater method? Because I'm really like that method. Okay, so I want to talk about the second one. Now, I love that she's like, you're back in the theater, and she's like, you're all alone, and you're getting close to the screen. He's like, I'm not alone. She's like, no, you're alone. He's like, I'm not alone. She's like, no, no, you're alone. I was like, bitch, he said he's not alone. I was like, I can see her. I mean, I know you can't see her. And I do love it, Betta, you mentioned it, how he's floating in his chair like it's a fucking Celine Dion concert and everything with the floating piano and everything. I don't know if you guys have heard about that, but I guess Celine Dion when she started doing her Vegas show, she wanted to she told her, I guess, okay, so this is the story. I'm going off on a tangent. So I guess
Oh,
she
story time.
story time, story time. So the story is that she went to see Circus Soleil, okay? And she told her husband, she's like, you know what, Andre? I want to make a concert where we mix magic and music and everything. And so I guess during her show, she'll be singing like the fucking Titanic song or whatever. And there's just like a piano with like a clown going, yeah, 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 just floating across the fucking like stage. And I'm all like, I need to see the show immediately because I mean, I don't like Cirque du Soleil. It creeps me out, but I am loving this Celine Dion piano floating across the stage idea. It's just so good. And yeah, so I did like that she was all like, "You're alone." He's like, "I'm not alone." She's like, "No, you're alone." And then he sees dig, and I'm all like, "Oh, we got this one word." I was like, by the way, ghosts are very bad at charades. Like, I'm all like, why don't you guys just again talk to that kid? That kid seemed his flashlight apparently is very good. So just talk to him.
Or when she's on the couch, why didn't she just lead him to the basement and point at the
Oh,
wall?
well, what did she, because, okay, apparently when she's on the couch, you can rewind that and she talks normal. It's all backwards. And I don't have the patience to listen to that backwards.
I
And
thought it was just normal because when she appears on the couch, she's like, "Oh, you can see me," and I clearly heard her say, "Oh, you
you
can see
did?
me."
Okay, all right, fine.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm wrong because I was just like, I'm not gonna play this backwards. I ain't got time for that bullshit. I gotta like get the clip and then I gotta like put it in a thing and play it back. I'm like,
Well,
I got stuff to do today.
Again, I'm like, if she knew he could see her, why didn't she just like say, follow me or do the little come hither little
Well,
thing?
like I
And
Ag-
noticed like the kid was like because like there were a couple scenes where like he was drawing and stuff. So and then you could see like his pictures and like his crayons and stuff. So I was like, okay, if the kid has clearly been talking to her for a while, why isn't he just like drawing stuff? Like I wouldn't she just kind of like, hey, here, like throw crayons at the kid and have the kid draw something, maybe? Like her
she need
communication was
like, does she need to be like solar powered? Like she uses all of her energy and for a couple of days she can only mime what
right.
she's
But then
saying. Like I'm
there
so confused on how she works.
and there was like a drip of dialogue. I can't remember who said it. It was like what oh no. So when they were at after he got hypnotized and he's like feeling all fucked up from all of this stuff, they go to like a neighborhood barbecue and then he asks there
Mm.
like, "What do you know about Samantha?" And like one of the guys says like, "Oh, she was gonna." He's like, "You
Yeah, the
can't
re
say." It's like, right, right. So I was like, "Oh, maybe the ghost is and that's why she's having trouble
she yeah,
communicating."
she was for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
She
Also explain why like when she was about to get she was just like, "Oh, but you can kiss me." I was like,
I have heard that love they are down to fuck like all the time. I've heard that from people, like no joke. Like when you put them in a house by themselves, they are just like fucking all the time. It's like crazy.
I
Okay.
had just a quick side story because I
Yeah, tell
can
me.
confirm that. So like I work with kids, right? So there's this one super kid that comes in every 2 weeks, right? Because like his we just like kind of look after him after school. He's a good kid though, don't get me wrong. But when he was like seventh or eighth grade, now he's in 10th grade. There was like it was like that time when boys are discovering what their penis can kind of do. So we had walked like I was like sitting there with like some other kids, and then my boss had walked by the table and he had his pants down like at his knees and he was playing with his thing. So and he would like often like after we talked to him about it, said like that's not appropriate. We still would like see him like touch his junk and like
Right.
rub
That's
it like over his pants because like he didn't know what was going on, right? But yeah, very horny individuals.
right on.
Well, do
Which
you
is
think
fine.
I always think it's because no one's actually like talked to them, or if they do, not in a way that they can understand it.
But
So
it's kind of like but like you understand like you're not if you have to pee, you don't whip out your dick and just hold your dick till you got to pee, right? Like it's like it's still genitalia. So there's some
yeah,
understanding that that's not supposed to
Well, in their
you
defense, I'm very horny all the time and a little so it's I get it. I get it. I'm there. I'm in the same boat. I get it. Just ask my wife. She is she's worn out, you know what I'm saying?
which always surprises me that you only have two children.
My pullout game is strong. I tell people all the time, my pullout game is A plus. I am and people are like, well, you have two kids. I'm like, you don't think those were planned, fucker? Like listen, my pullout game is pretty strong,
The
okay?
only A plus you've ever gotten.
Exactly. That's the truth. Okay. I love okay, so the only thing I just want to talk about Frank for like a hot second. I love that he just kept eyeballing these like younger women while his wife was like standing right next to him. And I love the line that she says when they're headed towards the football game and he's like bragging up his son and see those young girls passing. He's like, oh my God. And his wife is all like, why don't you just lick them while they walk by? And I'm like, because that's assault, honey. He can't do that. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, just lick them. They don't care. Yeah, I loved Frank for that because he was just like, I was like, Frank, you could be a little bit more subtle about it, friend. Um,
He was a meme before his time.
yeah, right, for sure. Well, that's the thing. You ever see those TikToks where they're like, my dad said he got lots of game before, and they show the dad, and he's like,
Oh,
and but then they show him when he's young, and I'm like, your dad got lots of game. I feel like Frank was one of those guys. Like he had like the six-pack abs, and he was like all muscular and played football and shit. And he was like getting mad pussy, he slayed the pussy, but now he's all like
might explain
balding.
why his sons became rapists as well, because
That's
times have changed.
Gotta live
okay.
up to dad's standards
Right,
here.
for sure, for sure. Okay, so I wanted to talk about the babysitter scene because I did like, I don't know, I would have pressed charges if a babysitter took my kid out of my house. I don't care if I saw your dead sister on my couch. I'd be like, you put my child in danger, fucker. And I don't care if you're sitting in a subway station, be like, I'd be like, yeah, no, I do know your sister's dead and in my basement, but you took my child out of my house in the middle of the night.
Okay, so that entire scene was retarded on so many levels for me. So first of all, it turns out like Kevin Bacon, he can't just like communicate and see ghosts, but now apparently he has like a premonition ability where if he looks in the right direction, things will like he'll see red basically. So I was
Right.
like, okay, you have
Which
this ability, but for some reason you can't use this ability to, find the dead body that's in your basement. So there
right.
was that.
And I
A,
didn't get that either. I didn't get that the whole time he was getting those permanent, like it was like, eh, and I was like, this noise is quite annoying, by the
right.
way. I'm very annoyed right now because I had been drinking when I watched it the second time. But I was just like, if that noise and goes off one more time, I'm gonna be very mad right now. But yeah, I didn't get that either. I was like, all right, you see red. I don't know what's going on here. So finish your thought. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay. So like I think that was just like him being able to like see the future or whatever, which again was cool, but it's like convenient that it only shows up for certain things. And then I didn't understand why the babysitter's immediate instinct was to kidnap a child when she's a known
Right.
babysitter in the neighborhood and this is
Right.
her
That's
first
good.
time babysitting this specific kid. Like I'm just thinking like if this kid starts talking about my dead and missing sister, right? There's a phone. I'm just gonna call my mom at work and be like, "Hey, mom, this weird kid I'm babysitting is talking about my dead sister. Like, what? I just don't understand the thought process of like, oh, we like, and there's like no, just like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? It just goes from her asking him about it to her kidnapping him. There's no in between.
Yeah,
And then,
or maybe try to find the dead body yourself. Like
right.
like what do you when he says Samantha, be like, what did you say? Samantha be like, what did Samantha say, buddy? And everything.
Like,
And then
why wouldn't you be
did
calm
she
with
say
him?
exactly did she say dig? Because I don't have a shovel, but there's
Right.
you've got some spoons in the kitchen. I just
And then, oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go
no,
ahead.
no, you go. No, you go.
No, I was just like I just didn't understand why she couldn't just like again, she's a babysitter, so she knows how to be calm with kids. So why wouldn't you just try to be calm with this kid and figure out why he's talking about her? And then when they get to the train station and find the kid, which Kevin Bacon's running around this train station and then he stops and he turns around and there's his kid, like literally 3 feet away from him, first of all. But then the officer's like, oh, that kid is clearly not yours, and then give it back, and then all of a sudden the officer just 180's like, did you see this young girl? Like, look at the photo, sir. Look at the photo.
Right,
I'm like,
exactly.
and then you
Exactly.
decide not to press charges. I'm like, and then you stop on the stairway as you're walking away from
Right.
this, like the scene of this crime. And the officer, you can see the officer standing at the end of the stairs watching them, like, why are, bro, you look so sus right
You're
now.
so
Why are
sus.
you
Oh my God.
stopping?
You're
Oh
so
my
right.
God. It's just like the entire, I'm surprised that we don't see a cop come to the house later to investigate it
I know,
because, like,
right?
oh my goodness, that entire scene was just it made no sense. Like, it was useless. It was absolutely useless because that doesn't come into play at any time later in the movie.
No, the
Yeah.
only time you ever see the sister again is when she's rehanging up after a year missing posters.
Exactly,
My
Right.
which
whole thing
also
is,
useless.
yeah,
Also,
my whole thing is there's a conflict. Like she thinks something bad's happened to her sister. Her mom's like, no, she ran away. She's done it before. And but I'm like, A, you could have quick jotted down on a piece of paper, went for ice cream. You're a very bad kidnapper. Very bad kidnapper. Write down. And I go, in that situation, I don't think it's the parent's choice to press charges. I think that's like the police's decision. You
Oh,
know,
okay.
that's not like saying, oh, he murdered my brother. Oh, I'm not going to press charges. He was kind of a dick and deserved it. That's not how it works.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I would have pressed charges though. I'd have been like, no, I don't think so. I don't care what you're.
Right.
I'm sorry about your sister, and I did see her on my couch a couple days ago, but I
She was
don't.
really pale.
Yeah, she was so dead. Like she needed some dental work, honey. But I'd be like, I'm sorry, you're going to jail now. No, you're so right. Okay. Did either one of you wanted to say anything else or bring up anything else about this movie?
Can I talk about the suicide? Because first of all,
Yeah.
statistics show males are the most likely to not screw up suicide, but this kid screws it up. He shoots himself in the chest.
That's a good point. Like I feel like if I wanted to commit suicide, I would just know how to do it like properly in the head, you
Yeah,
know?
I mean, and I just kind of go, that's a weird thing. And I don't know. I'm just kind of like, everybody's all up in arms, but nobody's like, why did he do it? No one's questioning why did
Well,
he
the
do it?
dad knows why he
Well,
did
Yeah.
yeah.
it.
I
It's a
just
good
am like,
neighborhood.
yeah, that
And
whole
like,
scene is just weird to me.
and
And Kevin
another,
Bacon screaming, and none of the neighbors heard the gunshot. It's very
mhm,
bizarre.
Mm.
especially broad daylight, nobody heard those shots going off.
There was that mail
Also,
woman. She probably
oh
she
yeah,
probably heard
yeah,
it.
but like we don't even see her run up or anything. Like
Mm-mm.
she just,
That's a good
la di
point.
da,
Yeah.
there's a dog.
Right on.
But like even like when that happens, we have only seen that son in passing at the neighborhood barbecue.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
it's like that, like this was like kind of an example of just like really bad storytelling on the
Yeah, and the
script
only other
writer's
thing
part.
we know about him is he's a football stud, and he's going to break a
Right.
record soon. Like they talk about that at the barbecue or whatever. Like he's a very
Exactly.
minimal character for being at the center of the whole plot of this story.
Right on.
Right. And then when Kevin Bacon is like, so like his wife's grandmother dies, and he's like, I'm not going to your fucking grandmother's wake. And she's like, you dick, all right. And then they have a conversation because she takes the kid, and then so while she's at the wake, he's like tearing the house apart because digging, apparently he couldn't do any more digging. So he thought, let me just dig in the house. And if they have a basement, I don't know why he's tearing up all of the flooring on the main floor, which didn't
That
make
was
any
nice
sense
wood
to me.
floor
Yeah.
too.
Right. But then when he finally does find Samantha's like, that was a pretty cool dead body, by the way. I thought the effects were kind of cool. But when he does find, she's not in the cement, she's like in a wall. And for some reason, there's a giant open window in the basement, and the other kid that was part of the rape has just been watching Kevin Bacon this whole time.
Right,
Well, his
right.
dad talks about how noisy it is when he gets like the jackhammer. But my other thing is this dead body was just wrapped in plastic behind a wall. There was no lye or cat litter, I guess, helps cover up the smell. She should have been smelling at this point in the movie. Like,
That's true, yeah. And they
and
don't
then
really explain that when they moved into that house either, which I would have never guessed that they were renting that house unless it weren't for the just very obvious dialogue drop of, "Oh, you're the first people I've rented it to."
yeah.
Like,
Right.
Well, and then she's holding a piece of hair, somebody's hair in her hand. So that whole time that the boys were moving her and the dads were plastering up the wall or whatever, no one saw that she had a big wad of someone's hair in her hand. Like, there's so much about this that I'm like, these people have never listened to a true crime podcast or watched 48 Hours because they did a piss poor job of writing a crime in this movie.
like
Right on.
I'm really curious why you would put a you're renting out the house. Why would you even risk putting the body there if you're going to like just so much about this plot made no sense. Like, why were the boys okay? Hold on, no. Okay, it made sense why they were drinking in that house because they're teenagers, right? So it's like, where can we go? But it doesn't like I don't get why they're calling it Samantha, who's like, yeah, she's cute for a young girl, but she's not that cute, like the way that these boys are talking about her. And then she starts, well, I don't understand if she's willingly letting you kiss her, just go with the way that you want and then just work your hands down, man. Like dubiously get her to consent to it instead of just forcing yourself. Like again, poor rapists, very poor rapists.
Well,
This
and in the real world, if that was the last place she was seen, in front of a couple houses down, wouldn't they have looked in the house that's being renovated and open to the public with
right.
nothing but plastic? Like, there's so much about this from a true crime standpoint that I'm like, poor murderers, you were getting caught from the beginning. The only thing I can think of is they hoped by putting it in that house that if it was ever found, it could be pinned on whoever was living there at the time, or it'd be so many years later that everyone would be like, I don't know what you're talking about.
That
You
was
know?
a basement that was clearly going to get renovated at some
Yeah.
point, though. Like,
Mm.
we're talking, this is 1999. Like, 5 years later, that basement was getting renovated. Like, come on. Come on.
The
Like,
basement was very cool, in my opinion, though. It had a little hatch going down there. I was like, that is so cool. I wish I had one of those. But I have a regular basement, so there's stairs and everything. So
I have a creepy basement, actually. It
I
used to
love
be
it.
renovated, but then there was like a mold problem, so they had to tear out all of so it's just like a bare cement basement now. But there was a hidden door down there. Okay, story time.
Oh, yeah,
There was
go.
a hidden door in that basement, and like so literally it was hidden behind a wall too. So like when you go into the basement, there's like a small like long room on the side, and it was
Mm-hmm.
like a cold storage area. And then there was a wall like right up at like the end. So
Mm-hmm.
they tore down that wall. Behind that wall, they found a door, and it's just this old wooden door. It's like 4 feet tall, and it was like on top of a step, and it was sealed shut. And we're like, why the fuck would they just put a door behind a wall?
So cool.
So then
Midget door at that.
right. So they cracked it open, and it just like it opened up into this really just like so it went like it was like it goes 4 steps up, and then it's like a 3 foot, just like 3 foot high, maybe like 10 feet deep, just like weird space. And there's nothing in there but dirt and like pipeline. And we're
And
just like,
there's a body in there.
Yep, I was just gonna say that's where whoever lived in your house before you, that's where they kept the children
right.
that
You're
they
gonna you're
yeah.
about to see a ghost any day
But
now.
the people that lived here were really fucking weird as well.
Yeah,
Like
see?
I got stories there as well. But it
Nice.
turns out this
Why
is
do you
like an
think your
old,
cats stick by you? They're protecting you.
Ghosts
but
do hate cats.
right. But it turns out it was like those farm cellar doors, old
Okay.
farmhouse. So they had just like sealed it up, and because like they couldn't transform that space, they just sealed it up. But it was really fucking creepy when I saw the photos.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Just seeing a
Is
fucking why is there a
this is the
door
house
behind
you
this
live
wall?
in now?
This is the house I'm living in. This is my
Oh, is
parents'
it
house.
still
Oh,
there?
we
Is
should
it
get
still there
ghost hunters
now?
to come. I bet there's a little girl named Samantha that her ghost is down
That's
there.
gosh, you should get like a paranormal person, one of those mediums to come in and see if there's any fun business. Although I don't believe in that stuff either. So, but
There's been no weird happenings in all honesty. So like I doubt.
boo.
Yeah, I know,
That's
but
because she's
it would
got
just
cats. They're protecting her.
That's
right. They
true.
go and play in that space too. So
Oh,
it's yeah.
they're keeping the ghosts in check.
I guess
All,
yeah.
all right. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about with this movie?
Oh, the ending. Okay, so we know that
Okay.
the kid Jake, the little kid, he's got the ability, the tism or whatever too, right? And
I
so,
equate him to the kid from The Shining, like the red rum and shit, because yeah, because you got
oh,
the bald black guy in there, and I was like, oh, it's the same story, just it's not winter time, you know?
right, and it's not in an abandoned
Yeah,
hotel.
exactly. So go ahead.
There was so like after everything is kind of like done and settled at the other house, they decide to move, and then as they're like you see him in the back seat, and they're just driving by all these houses, and he hears the voices, and he does this. I was like, oh,
Hmm.
I would have much rather have seen this because this movie's based on a book, right? But I
Right.
would have just much rather have seen the entire movie from that kid's perspective because he was a far more interesting character.
He
for sure.
was. You know what I was thinking the whole time? I was like, you know what I would like to see? The kid from The Sixth Sense and this kid team
Team
up
up.
in like a movie. Like they could do a total like they're both adults. But I was just like, I'm down for a sequel for this.
There
With
was a sequel.
well, I'm talking about with those two kids though,
Oh,
because
okay, okay.
Where
I'm
they're
not.
like paranormal investigator.
Yeah, yeah, they're just like talking to dead people, like, "Hey, who do you see? I see Tara. I see Tara too." Well, yeah, because we're both fucking dead people seers, dude. What are you talking about?
But the little
Yeah,
boy Jake, he didn't look like he was as fond of it as uh Haley Joe
Haley Joel.
Osment was, you know.
Yeah, I still you know what, we should all three get together and just write that sequel with those two in it, and just and we should get a package together and go to Hollywood and be like, we've got a script, we've got everything ready, you guys, we just need to get Haley Joel Osment and then this Jake kid, I don't know his name, we just need to get them on board and then we're good to go, you guys, we're good to go. And they say no, we'll be like, you fuckers will give M. Night Shyamalan a movie, but you won't give us a chance? Get
Right.
the
Have you
fuck
not
out of here.
watched the shit? He had a plan making
I,
people commit suicide.
yeah, exactly. I could have wrote The Happening, please. Like, stop
Or
it.
what's
Stop.
that shitty one with the lady in the lake or
Oh,
the
the lady, I don't
I think it is
remember.
The Lady in the Lake. I think
Yeah,
that's
it
what
yeah,
it's called.
that
Yeah.
was terrible. There was a
it's
giant
so
eagle and
bad.
some tree people in that. I was like, this is weird. I was like, I'm on board for weirdness, but I don't fucking get it. And that dude with the jerk off arm, I don't know what's going on with that, but it
Ugh.
was, yeah, that was a weird movie. Okay. We're gonna wrap this sucker up, but before we do, I just want to ask Vetta, would you recommend this movie?
Uh, I mean, if you don't have any other options and you see it and it's streaming for free, go for it. Or like I said, the first time I watched it, I fell asleep. So if you need a nap, put it on.
Okay. Vex, would you recommend this movie?
Yes, because it's so ridiculous. Like just like the terrible plot aside, like Kevin Bacon just gives like an unnecessarily good performance in here, and he's just like he's randomly screaming a lot too, which makes it interesting. I don't know, there's just a lot of like contrivances that make this entertaining in a dumb way. So I would recommend it just like you'll get a good laugh.
Right
Oh,
Yes.
on.
Kevin Bacon was going for an Oscar in this with the
Oh
screaming
yeah.
Right.
and the yelling
And
and
Right.
the
and the
breathing
oh, and he had
scene.
all the rings and the you know the turquoise and everything. I was like, oh, you got too many rings for my taste. I'm not into that, but it's fine. It's fine. I would also suggest this movie because even though it was ridiculous, I had a good time watching it. Like I was like, this is like the I remember the first time watching it, I was just like, this movie gets it. They get the paranormal world. But now watching it, I was just like, this is terrible, but I love every minute of it. I'm not gonna lie. I love that kid being like, I don't want to talk about this because it upsets mommy. And then they talk about it, and then the mom's crying the next scene because she's like, they have
Mhm.
conversations when I'm not around. I'm like, yeah, join the rest of the
Like,
male
my son
universe.
and my husband are bonding.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I do want to say right now, it is free, you guys, on like everything. Like I watched it on Tubi for
I watched
free.
it on Plex for
Yeah,
free.
so
Yeah.
I
yeah,
watched it on Prime, I think.
yeah, you can watch it anywhere for free.
Yeah.
It's like it's free all around and everything. And we know why. So, all right, you guys. Well, we're gonna wrap this sucker up, but I accidentally got rid of that fucking window. Okay, there we go. All right. We're gonna wrap this sucker up. Thank you so much, you guys, for listening to us. But before we leave you guys, we're gonna ask Vex. Vex, where can we find you at?
You can find me on Twitter and on YouTube at Vex Electronica, all one word.
Yes.
Um, brown female, so you know you've got the right person if you see a brown female.
We've got the right stuff, baby.
And I love
Okay.
her tweets. I like totally relate to
Yeah.
those. So you
I
guys,
love
I noticed. I was like, "Oh, Vetta's liking all my tweets lately." Oh, oh,
I like your videos. Your videos are very well. I love your I can't remember what video it was. I love your use of the word bazongos. I was like, that is so good. I'm so happy right now. It's like ridiculous. Okay, you guys. Well, thank you again for listening to us. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at BS Drunk Pod to stay updated. Now, if you guys listen to us on Apple Podcast or on Spotify or anything like that, please leave us a 5-star review, you guys. It really helps us out a lot, monetarily wise, and we really appreciate it. You guys have no idea how much it helps us out if you give us a 5-star review. We'll also be posting this video version of this to our YouTube channel, so you can be sure to check us out there and make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube at BS Drunk Movie Reviews. Also, we do have started a Patreon with plenty of different levels for you guys that will suit any of your needs and everything. We cover franchises. And so far we've done Scream, we've done the Bring It On series, we've done Sex and the City, Jurassic Park. We're at the moment of recording this, we're doing Ghostbusters. I know, jealous. Anyways, so make sure to check us out there. The link will be in the description down below and everything. And you guys, please, the most important thing, don't forget to drink, recap, review, and repeat. Bye, you guys.
Bye.